So yes, I want to chat to you about Black Friday. And when I had the idea for this talk, I was actually on the train home from London after a client meeting. And during that client meeting, one of the people said to us, "Is Black Friday really worth it, especially for a small brand like us?" They really elongated the really, and it made me think that probably a lot of other people are asking this same question. And I'm not going to wait until the end of this presentation to tell you what I think. The answer to me is really, really simple. It's, of course, yes, Black Friday is worth it. There are so many opportunities for both big and small brands. And it seems I'm not alone in thinking this. So as any digital PR, I took to, I'm going to always call it Twitter. I don't think I can get used to calling it X. So I took to Twitter and asked you guys if Black Friday was actually going to be part of your digital PR strategy this year. So you can see from the results, nearly 52% of people said yes, it is going to be part of their strategy. However, nearly 40% of people said no. So my job throughout this talk is to hopefully convince that 40% who think Black Friday is not worth it to actually start including it in their strategy in 2023. But I would be asking, why are you talking about this? So this is my 5th year in Black Friday. I was really lucky when I first joined the industry. I think it was in my 2nd month. Black Friday happened for one of my clients, and so I had to just hit the ground running. And I was really able to kind of learn from some of the best people. And then I've taken these learnings with me into the next years. So this is just a snapshot of some of the publications that I've landed coverage in for some of my clients. So you can see there like BBC Countryfile, The Telegraph, The Independent, and we've actually sold out. So this was last year. We have sold products out for our clients as well, literally within a few hours of sending the press release out. The clients had to message us back and stop us from outreaching because they just don't have any stock left. So really just showing the power of digital PR on Black Friday. And before I even get into talking about 2023, we need to first look back. So as I said, I've been part of 5 Black Fridays and I've taken learnings from every single one, and I'm going to share them all with you guys today. But firstly, we need to look back into 2010. So Amazon launched Black Friday in the UK. It's actually a US holiday, so it's the Friday after Thanksgiving. It's always been a massive holiday in the US, and in 2010, Amazon brought it over to the UK and it was a massive success. So obviously we started doing it every single year. Then fast forward to 2019. So this was my first Black Friday, and this GIF is an accurate representation of what me and my team were like every single day. 2019 was such a good year for Black Friday, and in the UK, people spent 8.75 billion over Black Friday weekend, and publications were including follow and no follow links, with only a handful of affiliate links being secured, which is the absolute dream. And then we also were able to secure links and coverage at scale on a multitude of publications during this time. And then I hate to talk about 2020. If I could remove this slide, I absolutely would, but this is so important when we're talking about Black Friday. This is where things really changed. It completely changed the landscape. So firstly, in 2020, there was so many articles around if Black Friday would even go ahead, which was absolutely crazy to me because over 40% of UK shoppers said they'd been online shopping a lot more in 2020. And I'm sure we are all in the same boat. I did a lot of online shopping during 2020 as well. And online retailers saw an increase in online traffic of 52% as well in 2020. So it seems really obvious that Black Friday would go ahead. And of course, it was the biggest year for Black Friday in recent times, but overall spend was actually down to 7.95 billion. So while people were shopping more, they were actually spending less, which was really interesting. And this is where the biggest change came from. So as I said, in 2019, it was really easy to secure those follow and no follow links. However, 2020 was a very dark time for many of us, and publications were in the same boat. If you were in digital PR in 2020, you will know that you'd create a media list the day before, go to outreach, and some of those journalists wouldn't be at that publication anymore. It was a really difficult time. Lots of publications were changing, who kind of their setup, lots of jobs were lost. So publications really needed to kind of claw back that revenue, and that's where affiliate linking became the norm. So we got a lot more affiliate links in 2020, and this was something that we had to feed back to our clients, who obviously were not very happy with this change, because obviously from an SEO point of view, they hold a lot less value. But we'll come into why affiliate links can still be counted and why they're important. And then 2021, so the dreaded C word was nearly over, and Black Friday experienced another huge boom, with sales hitting 9.42 billion in the UK alone. So there was a massive opportunity for brands in this year. Obviously, they saw how big Black Friday was in 2020, and they wanted to get on board with it. So competition was very, very high with other brands. And again, affiliate links were here to stay. They are never going to go away at this point. Publications are making probably a lot of money from these affiliate links. So we're going to continue seeing this going into the future as well. But on Black Friday in 2022, people from around the world spent $40 billion online. I just think when you see that figure, hopefully my argument of Black Friday is worth it is super, super clear as to why. And then 2022, I've put Rishi here. I don't know whether it was Rishi's fault. I feel like we went through so many prime ministers, I cannot remember, but I feel like we can blame Rishi, it's fine. But 2022 was a horrible time. I'm sure a lot of you will remember the cost of living crisis was at its height. People were, unsure whether they'd be able to cook their food. I saw an article on the best way to cook potatoes to save money. So we were in very, very dire times. I don't know if you remember your heating bills being crazy. I remember mine absolutely was. So of course, we didn't know how this was going to affect our Black Friday efforts. Of course, 2021 was a great year, but it just completely changed the landscape. So we went into 2022 a little bit blind, and this is where we can kind of take those learnings and see what we can expect for 2023. So something that we did see in 2022 was there was a lot of roundups done before the big day. I make it sound like Christmas. I'm sure to some people it is, but before the big day, looking back at the previous year's deals, so kind of which brands had the most off, and what you can expect going into Black Friday. That is meant to say 2023. Knew there'd be an issue somewhere. And then journalists were covering bigger deals on essential items. So, of course, obviously, the cost of living crisis, people wanted to get better deals. So we needed to make sure that we kind of kept up with that. And it was roughly around 20%. Anything under 20% wasn't really getting covered, but anything over 20% off, journalists were tending to cover. And as you can imagine, there was a lot of kind of like money saving tips articles that were getting published as well. And it's probably no surprise that overall spend was down this year. However, it was only down nearly £1 billion. But we still spent a huge £8.71 billion in the UK. And then I thought this was really interesting that on Black Friday, online sessions actually peaked between 10 and 11, and this was the exact same peak time as in 2021. So if you are waiting to execute your Black Friday strategy on Black Friday, you have completely missed the boat. We need to have everything already out. And then heading into 2023, so half of UK adults plan to spend during Black Friday weekend, which is incredible. And this is what we know so far. So the average spend per person on Black Friday is predicted to be £113. So this is 40% less than in 2022 and 59% less than in 2021. However, this just means we need to make sure we have really good deals on. Consumers are obviously looking for that bargain. And then Gen Z are geared to be the biggest customer in 2023 with an estimated average spend of £176. This is so important to kind of feed back to your clients, especially maybe like the smaller clients that you have, to make sure that they're optimized for people using their website and spending on their mobile, and also making sure they've got a really good social strategy in place, because that's where Gen Z are going to be hanging out online. And then Londoners are expected to spend the most, with approximately 68% of residents planning to spend an average of £181 each. So again, we can feed this into our strategy. We'll come on to media lists in a second, but you can kind of put that into your media list and make sure there's some really good London publications in there. So how do we take all of this forward with us into 2023? Well, first of all, preparation is your best friend. This is an accurate representation of me to my team every single day in the run up to Black Friday. But start thinking about it right now. Literally, as soon as you come off this call, I want you to start thinking about your Black Friday strategy. As I say, if you're waiting until the big day, you are already too late. And even a few weeks before, journalists are so busy during this time. So let's make sure we're prepping early, and I'll come on to kind of like how we can do that and how we can get journalists on side as well. Ask your clients to confirm their Black Friday deals. I've put by week commencing 30th of October. This is because it gives you 3 solid weeks to outreach and just be able to focus on the deals. However, it's super important to kind of have these conversations with your clients, make sure they understand why we need these deals really early. And it just means they've got time to kind of check things on their side as well. I've also put check the stock in here too. This might seem a bit crazy and like, why should we care as digital PRs? But as I mentioned earlier, we actually sold a product out last year within a matter of hours. And then journalists were coming to us for probably the next 4 days, asking us to put that deal live again. So just having an overview of the stock, it just means that you're maybe not going to push out a product that only has a few hundred in stock, and instead you could focus on a deal that has a few thousand in stock instead. And then get your Black Friday dream team together. I think some of my dream team are on this call, but this is so, so important. So it's very easy in Black Friday. It's so chaotic. There's so much going on. It's very easy to kind of get lost and just focus on Black Friday. However, I'm sure you guys will have clients that are not partaking in Black Friday and they still need to be serviced. So I think it makes sense to have a dedicated team who just focus on Black Friday kind of in the run up to it and afterwards. And then you've still got the other half of your team who are servicing all your other clients. And then this one is controversial for me because I hate master media lists. I do not believe in them. I never have them in my day-to-day life. However, Black Friday is my exception. So have a Black Friday master media list put together. This doesn't have to be just a bunch of contacts on an Excel spreadsheet. Have some thought behind it. So make sure, if you've got your deals already, you know what products you're going to push. Make sure we kind of like put our media list into categories. So for example, you might have lifestyle. One of ours is an outdoors client. So we kind of have like camping, or you might have a fashion client. So make sure you've got fashion writers in there. So organize the master media list, but definitely kind of have one place where all of your contacts are in there, and make sure to look back at last year as well. So who covered deals last year? And then we will get in touch with them. Which brings me on to my next point. So contact everybody on your media list ahead of Black Friday. We've already started doing it this week, and I think we're 5 weeks away from Black Friday at this point. So we're already having these conversations with journalists, and what we are doing, what we've taken from 2022, that learning is doing a rundown of some of the best deals that we had on last year, and then just giving them a little taste of what they can expect from the brands this year. Again, that's why it's so important to have those deals nice and early, so we can kind of give journalists a bit more information. And then make sure to update your media list throughout Black Friday. Don't just create it and think, right, that's done. Keep updating it. So search for similar product roundups that maybe your competitors are included in, but your client isn't, or roundups that you think your client should be included in. Add them onto your list. And then if a journalist is out of office or their email doesn't send, delete them from the list and replace them immediately. We only have so much email capacity. We don't need to be wasting precious email capacity on journalists which their email is not even sending through. And then I know I keep mentioning this, but it's so important. You absolutely should know your clients' products and what they'll be pushing out on Black Friday. So prepare these, get the high-res images downloaded and get them uploaded in a Dropbox folder ready to go. Again, have some thought behind it. Don't just create one master Dropbox file. Journalists are so busy. If you guys think you are busy during this time, journalists are 10 times busier. They are probably receiving hundreds, if not thousands of emails every day on Black Friday. So let's just make their job as easy as possible for them. So definitely kind of create different folders for different journalists. So I've just put some examples there. And I cannot stress this point enough. Name your images clearly. If you just have a bunch of product codes or I don't even know what else you would have when you're naming them, the journalist is not going to understand it. Make sure it's super, super clear. Whatever we're putting in our outreach, make sure there's an image that goes with that. And then pitches. So I put an example here of kind of what we would do for a standard pitch. Obviously, this can be changed depending on who we're outreaching to and also depending on the client as well. But these are some of the bits that are super important to have in there. So first off, always include the percentage off. You'll see there's I don't know why I'm pointing to my screen because you guys can't see that. But you can see there's the saving one on the actual pitch, and then it says % off. This just makes it easy to digest for a journalist. You'll see a lot of kind of coverage which says 80% off, 70% off this product. So definitely include, and as I say, just making that journalist job so much easier. But don't just put the percentage off, also have the monetary value. So you can see we've got the retail price in there, and then we've got the Black Friday price as well. Again, a journalist might want this. They might prefer that over the percentage off. Another journalist might prefer the percentage off over this. So just include both just to cover your back and make it make sense. Don't try and put all your deals into one pitch or email. Even if you have kind of like a small brand who maybe don't have that many products, make the pitches make sense. So you don't want to create just like a massive pitch that doesn't send on email and it gets cropped. I hate when that happens. It's one of my pet peeves. So yeah, just make sure you're pitching the right deal to the right journalist, which kind of goes on to my next point, which shows that you know the type of deals that that journalist covers and only share appropriate ones with them. As I say, they are going to be so busy. So let's not waste their time. Let's make their jobs so much easier, because I promise you it will just strengthen your journalist relationships and it will help you get coverage on Black Friday. Again, this is not how I run my day-to-day life, and I would never suggest this for any other client or any other day. But on Black Friday, have a master document for all your pitches. And the way that we kind of do this is we organize it on the side in Google Docs. Don't think that I'm just a serial killer who has like 20 document pages open. I do have it nicely organized, but if you have them all in one document, it just makes it easier for your Black Friday dream team to kind of come in, leave comments on what's been outreached and to what contacts in the media list. And then we all can kind of keep up to date, and it doesn't have to be constant back and forth of asking people where things are at. You can go into that document and you can clearly see where everything is. And then include product descriptions where possible, especially if you're pitching to get included into a roundup. This is so important. A lot of journalists include product descriptions. So again, it's just making their lives easier. If you don't include the product description, they're going to have to click on the link, go through to the website, and then get the product description from there. And that'll just probably annoy them. So just include the product descriptions. And then don't forget to follow up with your contacts on specific deals as well. It just might be that the window for a follow-up may be a lot shorter than a regular pitch. And also as well, if a journalist does ask you not to follow up, because we appreciate it's a busy time for them, then obviously take that on board and don't put follow-ups in there. I'm just going to go back to this slide for a second, because when people think of Black Friday pitches, they often think that it has to be kind of laid out like this, and it has to be very product focused. However, don't forget to kind of look at the news, see what's happening, and hook into those news articles. So a really good example for us is we saw Kate Middleton was in the news last year around Black Friday, and we actually had something from one of our clients that she had been pictured in. So we got that picture and we went out with the headline of, you can buy Kate Middleton's fashion staples or something during this year's Black Friday sale, and then that went absolutely everywhere. So still make sure that you are newsjacking, you know what's going on, and if you do kind of find that hook, you can be a bit more creative with your pitches on Black Friday. It doesn't have to be quite as black and white as this. Stop calling it Black Friday, start calling it Black Friday weekend. So Black Friday is sandwiched with Cyber Monday, but do not forget about Saturday and Sunday in the middle, because people probably are not going to be at work and they're probably looking to shop on Saturday and Sunday as well. And we are not in a Cinderella story. So Black Friday is not a one-day event. It doesn't end at midnight. And if your clients' deals do end at midnight on Friday, you are missing such a big opportunity. However, if this is your client's first Black Friday, maybe they might not know this, they might not understand this, they might not know kind of the media landscape. And that is where we come in to kind of educate our clients. So we need to make sure we're having these conversations really early on to really ensure we can kind of speak to them, get them to understand it, and then they can go to their internal teams and kind of ask them to extend certain deals. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I have seen some of my clients' deals. I was chatting about this yesterday. One of them has sent me a document with over 900 deals on it. I am not asking that client to keep all 900 deals live over the 4 days. However, what we can do is, if there's really good deals in there, if there's really big, kind of like from a business point of view, if they really want to push a certain product, then we can ask for those ones to be kept live a little bit longer than the others. But again, this is just a conversation that you need to have with your clients. It might be an education around this subject, because a lot of people do think Black Friday is just a one-day event. So yeah, make sure to just have these open, honest conversations and kind of back it up with your learnings as well. But it doesn't stop at Black Friday weekend or Cyber Monday. So I want you to extend your strategy even further. So while they come to a close, a lot of other competitor brand deals also come to a close after Cyber Monday. However, a lot of people are doing their Christmas shopping, and there's so many kind of like Christmas roundups. I've put an example here that The Independent did last year that one of our clients was featured in. But this was a post Black Friday sale, so the deals that are still live from Black Friday. So there is such an opportunity to kind of extend this even further from Cyber Monday. And so many journalists cover this. Again, it's all about having those conversations with clients. We had a conversation around this yesterday with one of our clients saying, you know, again, we're not expecting all of those deals to be live. However, if there's certain ones that you want us to push, then I think it'd be really good. Or as well, if you've got a lot of stock of a product that you've got a really good deal on and you kind of just want to get rid of it, let us know, and we can continue to push that up to Christmas as well. And there's no such thing as over communication. This is so, so important. Somebody taught me this literally, I think it was like my second day of my first job. They said, you're never going to get in trouble for over communication, but you will if you under communicate. And this is something that I've taken forward with me forever. And it's definitely something that I use on clients all the time. So Black Friday, if you have bigger brands, established brands who've done Black Friday, you know, for a number of years, they might not be as bothered. However, if you've got a small brand who, you know, it's expensive to put Black Friday deals on, they want to kind of feed this back to their internal teams to see how it goes, and it kind of determines whether they'll do it next year, then communicate everything with them. We saw in 2022, it was a bit of a chaotic year because of the cost of living. We are not out of the woods in 2023. You know, cost of living is still ongoing. People are still worried about their energy bills. You know, we've seen a lot of that in the news at the minute. So everything that we are kind of saying to prepare for in Black Friday is very much taken from last year's learnings, but everything could change. This Black Friday could be a disaster. It could be wonderful. We don't know until we're in the thick of it. And we need to communicate that with clients as well. You know, if things are going badly, have those open, honest conversations, let them know kind of what we're seeing in the news at the minute. Let them know everything that we are doing, everything that we are pushing, and just have that open stream of communication. If you don't have a Slack channel or a Teams channel, or I can't think of any other ones, with your client, then I would highly recommend this in Black Friday. I just think it makes communication so much easier than trying to kind of do everything over email. And on the topic of over communication, I think it's super, super important at the end of kind of, I would say Cyber Monday, but if you're extending that strategy, you know, start thinking about it kind of like mid-December, obviously before we all disappear for Christmas, but put a report together of kind of what we learned. So of course, ask your client what they want to see in this report. However, this is just kind of a standard thing that I always include. So of course, an overview of our results. So looking at average DR, the number of links, the number of brand mentions, organic traffic, and the number of affiliate links. You could also kind of put in follow versus no followed links in there as well. Any coverage highlights, which I'm sure you will have lots of. An overview of the news cycle during Black Friday. So what did we see from this year's Black Friday? What did we see journalists doing? A really good example is the one that we mentioned for 2022, where they kind of did those pre-Black Friday roundups. If there's anything like that, then put it into this report. An overview of what we learned from this year. So be really open and honest with this. We do not control Black Friday. You know, we only have so much control over it. We only can do what we can do. So if something disastrous happens, so for example, last year, as you can probably imagine, there was a lot kind of around the cost of living, and something that we learned was, you know, we need to make sure we're pushing kind of those bigger deals. We've already kind of got the estimation of the spend in 2023. So something that we've taken into 2023 is this is very much going to continue. People are looking for those better deals. So this is definitely something that we learned last year and we've taken forward with us this year. And that brings me on to my last point of exactly how we're going to take these learnings into next year. Not only is this great for your clients, and as I say, kind of having that open, honest communication, which is wonderful, this also really helps you guys. When you come to do Black Friday next year, it's a full year away. If you'd have asked me probably at the beginning of September what Black Friday was like last year, I'd have been like, not a clue. However, when I started working on Black Friday strategies for some of our clients, the very first thing I did was pull up all of my reports from last year and just refresh my memory of kind of what are the learnings that I said we were going to take forward with us, and then coming up with kind of an action plan on how we were going to put those learnings into action. And then I mentioned this before, but it's so important. And this is something, again, you're going to have open and honest conversations with your clients about. So don't totally discount affiliate links and brand mentions during Black Friday. I get it. Affiliate links from a SEO point of view obviously hold a lot less value. However, they are so good for sales and really good for getting traffic to the website as well. So, which is basically is what Black Friday is all about. You know, from a client perspective, they want to increase sales, they want to increase traffic. They basically just want all their customers and non-customers to come to their website and buy everything. And that is what affiliate links do. So definitely kind of when you are speaking to your clients, focus on the benefits to them rather than kind of like the SEO value. And as well, brand mentions, of course, they don't hold any SEO value. However, they are really, really good for brand awareness. So even if you kind of have those smaller brands, kind of telling them that, you know, at least we're out there, at least we're in kind of like product roundups with your competitors. Brand mentions are kind of rare during Black Friday. I feel like journalists are very receptive. If they don't include a link, they probably will put one in if you just email them. And then my last point is just have fun. Black Friday is chaotic. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. It's a crazy, crazy time. And it gets kind of, when you're in the thick of it, you can't really see the fun of it. But I promise you, Black Friday is so fun. I feel like it's the essence of a digital PR. Like, it is the busiest time. You know, we always say that we're doing 10 million things, and Black Friday is exactly that. So just enjoy it, have fun. It's such good kind of career experience as well. So yeah, that is the end. Is there any questions from anybody? I can't see anybody on the screen, so you're gonna have to help me out.
Chloe, we haven't got any questions yet, but I would invite anyone to pop some questions in the chat right now. Feel free. No question is a bad question. But I think when we were discussing in the office the other day, one of the questions that came up was Black Friday. Often people kind of think about it specifically with product PR. Is it limited to certain verticals, or do you think it's something that we can do for absolutely anyone?
Honestly, I would say absolutely anybody. So we have done it for an array of clients. So from tech to fashion to kind of more outdoorsy, there is literally a Black Friday spin on anything. We've also done it for, you know, kind of like holiday cottages, that sort of vibe. You know, if somebody has a location we can hook into and they've got a good deal on, then we can absolutely utilize that for Black Friday. So I really don't think there's any kind of limitations. It very much comes from the preparation. So making sure that you are going out to the right contacts. You know, a journalist that's covering all tech deals are probably not going to cover fashion deals. So just make sure we're going out to the right journalists.
Amazing. And you mentioned kind of about how to communicate with clients who maybe haven't done Black Friday before when you're talking about the activity that's taking place. If you've got a client who is maybe in a startup, or maybe it's the first time they've worked with you, and this is for business owners as well, maybe they've never done Black Friday before, how would you manage communications with them around kind of encouraging them to take that risk?
Yeah, I think number one, I will share this presentation with everybody, send them this, promo me. But honestly, I think it's about having those early conversations. So, you know, when our client asked, is Black Friday really worth it? I'd say I think that was in like July, August time. So definitely kind of having those conversations really, really early on. As I said before as well, a lot of it will be kind of education around Black Friday because it is a big investment, I guess, for a lot of clients, especially as you say, like startups. So I think just having those open, honest conversations, you know, telling them what the landscape was like last year, kind of the journalists, you know, never be afraid to send a media list to a client. I know people are going to be like, oh, what? No. But sometimes I think it can just help put them at ease of like, we actually have found all of these contacts who cover similar stories to or similar products to what you are selling.
Yeah.
So I think just never be and share your pitches with them. Like, you shouldn't have anything to hide. It's not a massive secret. Just be as open and honest as possible. And if they need that bit of reassurance, then give it to them.
Sure. Amazing. We have got a couple of questions that have come in, Chloe. So we've got one from Jorge here saying, great roundup, Chloe. Thanks for that. Do you have any tips for Black Friday strategies for B2B companies, for example, software companies?
Oh yeah, this is really interesting. So again, I feel like it all comes from that preparation. So making sure that that media list is really, really strong. You know, you've got people who have covered B2B before. I'm assuming it's software companies that you are talking about. But making sure that kind of you are going out to the right journalists. As I say, probably maybe like a national journalist is not going to include that in a roundup. However, there definitely will be publications and there'll be journalists out there who definitely will cover those. So I think it all kind of starts with your media list. And then kind of when you're looking at your pitches, just have a look at what was covered the year before and see how kind of like those particular journalists, you know, your list might be a little bit shorter, but if you are looking at journalists who have covered similar deals, they're probably guaranteed to cover them this year as well. Have a look at kind of the layout and what kind of their article looked at and what they included. and then kind of mimic that in your pitches. Again, just making that the journalist job as easy as possible.
Amazing. We have got a couple more, so I'll just run through those quickly. Oliviana has asked, what would happen if the client server gets a huge number of visitors on Black Friday? So, how would you kind of deal with maybe a hectic client if things have stopped loading on site?
Yes. So I feel like from our perspective, obviously a client would tell us if that is happening. From our perspective, we can have those conversations with journalists. Journalists I've said they're really, really busy. However, I personally find that journalists are the nicest people during Black Friday. So a really good example of this, I know I've mentioned this like 5 times, but when we did sell a product out last year, when we had the communication from the client, we still had those deals going out to journalists. We still had journalists who were telling us they were going to cover it and they hadn't yet. And we had to have those difficult conversations of, this is actually sold out. Can you please not cover this? So just having those conversations on your end with the journalist, just saying, just so you know, if consumers are coming to you guys, we're just having a few issues.
Yeah.
Also, make sure you kind of have a little bit of an idea of a solution. So don't just be like, oh, that's fine to your client. Ask questions, ask when do they think they're going to have this kind of fix? What are they doing? So we can go back and kind of explain that to the journalists.
Amazing. So I guess just complete transparency at all times.
All times.
Yeah.
Black Friday, you should be talking to your client probably more than you have ever spoken to them before. Just constant communication. And the same with journalists as well. I think they kind of prefer having the respect. So we could have easily just gone, we're not going to tell them it's sold out. They'll still put the deal live. And from a digital PR point of view, we'll get loads of links. However, it just hopefully your moral compass doesn't think that way, and so just having those open, honest conversations is key.
Perfect. And then we've got someone who is listed as anonymous, and I'm liking the mystery. They have asked, they've said that their client is doing Black Friday month, so their deals are very competitive and can change throughout the month depending on competitors. How would you approach that from a strategy perspective? So if you've got quite a reactive client, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's really interesting. Well, great, because obviously it means you're probably going to get the most coverage if your deals are really, really good. Journalists are going to love that. If you've already kind of pitched a deal out and then the next day, for example, it changes and it's actually a better deal than before, contact the journalist, have those conversations and be like, you can just do it on the email thread and just be like, hi, just so you know, this deal's actually changed and it's changed to whatever it is, and just make sure you're giving them all that detail. I definitely would still say, have the master media list, have the pitch master document as well, because I feel like they're really easy to update and it just saves you a bit of time. If those deals are changing literally day by day, it just gives you a really, really good starting point, and hopefully you'll be a little bit stressed if you kind of have those master documents open and ready to go.
Amazing. And then finally, because we're not leaving anyone out, Ellie has asked do you find that certain types of publications or journalists, a particular news desk, cover Black Friday more than others? Or do you think it's down to, is it down to the relationship that maybe you have with them, or will journalists be all over everything?
Yeah, this is interesting, actually. So it kind of depends from one Black Friday to another, which I know is not a helpful answer going into 2023. It definitely, I think, having kind of the prep beforehand. Oh God, if you should take a shot every time I say preparation or prep. But the prep kind of emailing the journalist beforehand, making sure that they kind of know who your brand is, know who your client is, know what kind of deals you've got going on. I feel like that just starts the relationship on a really, really good note. And then what we find during Black Friday is a lot of people will come to us as well and be like, do you have any deals on this? Or I'm doing this roundup. Do you have anything that suits? So there's not a particular type of publication. I would say nationals do a lot of it. Also, we also saw last year a lot of regional press doing quite a lot of roundups. But it completely depends, which, Ellie, I'm so sorry, that's not the best answer. I can't tell you like, oh, the independent always cover you. It does depend, and of course it depends on those client relationships as well.
Yeah.
If your client has does product PR throughout the rest of the year as well, you probably have a lot of those contacts. If they've done product PR previously, they probably will this year as well. So just making sure that you've got those really, really strong contacts on your media list and kind of ready to go to have those conversations. And as well, if you get, I don't know, if you see a roundup from the BBC, I don't think the BBC do Black Friday deals, but if they did, then, oh, can you see my screen still?
Yeah, we're all good.
Oh, I can't see it. Interesting. But yeah, if the BBC, for example, did Black Friday deals and you kind of thought, oh, our client should be in that roundup, speak to your client, see if there's like an exclusive deal that we could offer them. Because, if that's a really high DR website, you can see that they've included the dream of follow links, which probably is never going to happen. But if they have, then it's a really good opportunity to just kind of speak to your client and say, look, we think we could get in this. Is there anything that you can do for us? So again, having the, I guess I was going to say difficult conversations, but they're really not difficult at this time. They are just open, honest. If a client comes back and says, no, we can't do that, that's fine. Just don't take it personally. But yeah, definitely just having that education and kind of open, honest communication is key.
Amazing. Love that. Well, Chloe, before we let you go, thank you so much. That was awesome. But can you let everyone know where they can find you, just in case anyone wants to reach out for any more of your wisdom?
Of course. So yeah, if you didn't want to ask a question on this, just come chat to me. So you can find me on, as I say, I'm always going to call it Twitter. I'm so sorry, Elon Musk. But you can find me on Twitter, and then I've put my LinkedIn as well. We'll be sharing these slides with you as well. So come chat to me. And then you can also find me speaking. I'll hand over back to you, Beth, but you can also find me speaking at the Digital PR Summit in 2024.
Thank you, Chloe. That is a shameless plug from us. But yeah, we do have the Digital PR Summit coming live and in person next year. Tickets are on sale on our website. So yeah, do join us there, because Chloe will be speaking about something completely different. So even more wisdom from Chloe. But yeah, we'll share this round with everyone. Thank you so much for everyone for your attendance. And yeah, anyone has any questions, please do reach out to us.
Thank you so much, guys.
Cheers, guys.